Welcome to the session. Vocabulary took the concrete with placing conditions with the nature of concrete. So in the earlier video I explained the nature of slum, which is the first test or primary test of the vocabulary. Now as per this IS 456-2000, for different placing conditions for different type of civil engineering works, how the workability is required and what should be the degree of workability and the value of the slum. These things are specified in IS 456. So here basic conditions are mentioned. So required degree of workability for that specific condition is explained in the second column, and in third column the value of the slum is whatever required for the placing condition, that is explained. Now you can see here for the placing condition, blinding concrete, shallow sections, pavement using the pavers. So where the degree of workability is very low and slum generally it is 0. For pavement concrete the slum is 0 because the hatch concrete is required for the placing condition. Now second is different placing conditions are mentioned here. Mass concrete, light reinforced sections, hand placed pavements, canal linings. So the degree of workability is low and the slum required is 25 to 75 mm. Now next, the third category is heavily reinforced sections in slabs, beams, walls, columns. Medium workability is required and slum required is 50 to 100 mm. These things are specified in IS, and according to this IS, the concrete shall be prepared on the site, and at the site concrete, the workability must be matched with this table of IS. Now the fourth is reform work, means pumped concrete. So for pumped concrete the workability is medium, but the slum value is more than 75 up to 100 or even more than that also. Last is trench field, in situ piling, and workability required for this, that is the degree of workability is high and it is 100 to 150 mm slum. And very last is trimmy concrete. So for the trimmy concrete the degree of workability is required very high, and the slum which is mentioned, that is in the 7.1.2, in this case it is more than 150 up to 200 mm. Now the entire thing is based on the slum value. Okay, so the slum is the primary test of the workability which is generally conducted on the sites. So you can see here this is the slum, and in earlier video also I have explained you the slum cone test. So concrete is filled in this slum in 4 layers and it is tamped with 25 stroke so that the compaction is occurred, and whenever this slump is lifted vertically, the concrete, unsupported concrete that will subsidize, and the subsidized from the height of the core, it is measured with this depth with the tape, then that is called as the slump. Now various slump values are designating different degree of workability which is required for this placing condition. Okay, now we have prepared the models here, and those models are 5 of the models in which is the 5 nature of workability is explained. Here you can see first, second, third, fourth and fifth. Now the height of the cone itself, it is marked on this bar and it is tied with the string, and the concrete already we have prepared with the models. These are the actual models which are made with the concrete, which explains you the nature of concrete. If you observe all these concretes, please come on this side please sir. This title must be clear with you. So if you see here this first concrete, in which from top of the cone, if I measure the slump value, it is 0 or near about only 10 mm, which is actually nature of concrete is 2. But the 10 mm value it is matched with this table. So that the table of IS 456 which I explained at the start of this video, in which the very low slump concrete is specified for pavements using pavers. Okay, so this pavement using pavers, whenever this type of concreting placing condition is there, you should go for this type of concrete which is also known as by nature 0 slump. Now second, if I measure the slump of this concrete, here it is near about 30 to 40 mm. Now 30 to 40 mm concrete, where it is most suited? This 30 to 40 mm concrete is suited for this working condition, placing condition. Degree of workability is low, it is in between 25 to 75. So this partially shear slump concrete is useful for mass concrete, light reinforced sections, beams, walls and columns, hand placed pavements, canal lining. So what I mean to say here, according to the placing conditions, the concrete shall be prepared, and the student, by observing the nature of concrete, student must decide or student must study that in which placing condition it is useful. That is the motive of this video. Now the third is shear slump. I am measuring the slump from the top of this slump cone test, and if you observe this is near about 120. Now 120 shear slump concrete, if you match with this placing condition, that will be here, somewhere here. Medium is the degree of workability, and it is useful for heavily reinforced sections in the slabs, beams, walls, columns. Especially in our regular RCC buildings, whatever concrete is prepared, that concrete is of this medium workability, having slump of 75 to 100 or near about 100 to 120 mm. Okay, so for RCC works, this type of this nature of concrete is used. It is having shear nature. Actually, we should get the true slump. Now, the true slump, according to the nature, this is the type of nature which is expected. All around the slump, the concrete is subsidized, and the value of this slump is near about 110. So, true slump of 110 value, that is useful for our RCC work. Now, if you go for last type of concrete, this nature of concrete is a collapse slump. If you measure this value, this is about 185 to 190. Now 185 to 190 is the slump value, and that to a dispersed cohesive mix. Then my question for all of you students, that where it is suited, you can open IS 456, go to that table. This table is on page number 2. You can go for that page number 2, and just according to this 180 or 190 slump value, tell me now this collapse concrete which is having 180 to 190 slump, where it is suited according to this our table IS 456 table. For which placing condition this type of concrete is feasible, that you should study and give the answer. Okay, so I am continuing that. You can pause the video and you can continue it. This 180 slump concrete, it is most suited for this type of work, which we can call trimming concrete. Degree of workability very high, and the slump is more than 150. It is near about a pumpable type of concrete, where the concretes will be placed through the trimming. Okay, so the slump values are playing important role, and for the particular placing condition, the slump values are important. Slump values just are indicating the cohesiveness and homogeneity of the concrete, and this is degree of workability. Okay, for different types of works, different degree of workability is required, and different value of the slumps are required. Just by bare observation, you can decide, even you can identify where this type of concrete is most suited. Now, directly I will tell you, this is zero slump concrete. It is useful for the roads, for the pavements. Now, this is the partial shear and shear. Both are not having that much homogeneity. That's why the shear is occurred. You can improve a little bit water cement ratio in these two, and you can get the proper true slump, which is shown here. Now this true slump having 100 workability, it is useful for our regular RCC work, means our regular building structures, RCC building. Now this type of collapse type of slump, it is useful for pumpable concrete, especially ready-mix concrete. For that, the collapse type of slump is required of the 180 and 190 value. So this is for the entire student study of physical significance of the slump and the physical significance of the concrete with respect to the slump. So for this video, Mr. Avinash Angadi is helped me, and this entire video is conducted in our Ultratech, WIT Ultratech Center of Excellence, and all the articles are prepared by us, and it is kept only for the learning of the student. Thank you.